Wow, well then I'm going to use this to make sure that the internets can hear what's going on here. Eric just had a bunch of wonderful words that he said here in the bookstore. But if you want to catch the real magic, you need to make it on down. And there's music all night tonight, so you got a chance if you're out there watching on the internet to get on down here and still catch some great jazz, either this band or the late band. So come on through. We thank everybody for being here on a Friday. We're going to start with a song that is associated with Bird for the Bird and Beckett bookstore. This is a tune that he recorded, I think was written by Dizzy Gillespie, called Groovin' High. Welcome once again. Thank y'all for being here. It's good to see some familiar faces out there and friendly faces. This is a little trio that has a long history. It goes back to the 90s, and a lot of this material was gathered up by my good friend Tom Griesser here, who we have on the saxophone. And so you're going to see, you're going to hear a lot of music that he was saying the other night that this was in the analog era, and it's all like handwritten pencil charts that we got here, so it's pretty exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about this group and what it's all about. One thing that you'll notice is that everybody up here is going to have some little featured moments here, so you're going to hear a lot of different things going on within the trio format. Hopefully, that's what we're aiming for. And this is a great tune that was written by the master Duke Ellington called Stevedores Serenade. Double stops. Stevedore's Serenade. We're What you're hearing tonight is music. There's a beautiful time in the history of this music here in America when the remnants of what was swing and a very, very popular music during the early part of the last century that kind of took hold and became America's pop music was being infiltrated by this great music that I fell in love with called bebop. And there was definitely a camp of people that were in the bebop camp. We talked about Bird a minute ago. And then a camp of people that were in the swing, that were kind of in the swing lane. And then this amazing thing that happened in the middle, where like the swing folks took a little bit of bebop and kept a lot of their swing in there. And Tom is the historian in the group, but I believe a lot of this material kind of falls in that category. This was a tune that was written by Duke Ellington, who is a master of the swing world, but also got updated by some people that had lived through bebop. And so hopefully you're going to hear a little bit of elements of swing and some of the bebop, and then Tom will correct me if anything I said is completely wrong. This is, use the mic, but because Don Bias is actually, when you think of that, like what is the bridge between swing and bebop, I always talk about Don Bias, and here's a saxophone to tell you more about Don Bias.
Don't have too much to offer aside from that, just that, yeah, I was going to point out that Bias was a transitional figure. Probably the most prominent role he had prior to going out on his own in the early to mid-1940s was a stint with the Count Basie Orchestra. And so he spent his latter years in Europe, but made quite an impact in his time in the U.S. And I think he was part of that whole, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe he was part of that whole, the Mittens Playhouse and the Uptown House in Harlem, where some of those sessions started to happen about 1939, 1940. Unfortunately, there was a very enterprising Columbia student, Jerry Newman, who used to bring, I mean, imagine recording technology back then in a DIY sort of context. He had this, I don't even know what you called it back then. I mean, something that Mr. Burns would have had on The Simpsons. You know, just made these recordings. And fortunately, you can find some of them out there. And Don Bias, along with Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Christian, Thelonious Monk, all these players were part of that scene. So this is a tune entitled 1944 Stump.
Composed by the great Don Bias. Tom Griesser on the saxophone on that one. Yes, 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 yes. And so I've got a playlist of some of these tunes, and the playlist is entitled OP Meets LT, because underpinning all this is sort of the concept of the music of Oscar Pettiford and Lucky Thompson is sort of kind of the backbone of all this material, and they kind of bridge that gap that we talked about. And one of the great things about that music is that a lot of it's written by the great bassist Oscar Pettiford. And so you're going to hear our friend Scott Chapek here playing a lot of bass coming up right about now, starting right now. So this one is actually called OP Meets LT. And every time Tom and I don't play something, someone else has to play. And his name is Scott Chapek. Scott Chapek on the bass. Oscar Pettiford. All right. Some of these tunes seem to go by really quick. I'm wondering if we can stick in that the girl, that song about the girl. Yeah, can we do that? There you go, Ellington and Herb Jeffries tune. And for me, this is something I tell my wife over and over again. I don't know if she believes me, but this one's called "The Girl of My Dreams Looks Exactly Like You." the music that you all are enjoying in your current, unless you go back, unless you're checking out that 19th century stuff, which a lot of you are. I know some of you are for sure. So let me rephrase that. For those of you digging on the stuff that came after the 1900s, it was all based on American blues, and American blues is responsible for K-pop, country, whatever it is, whatever you're checking out, it's happening because of American blues, and it was a big part of the jazz tradition, and so you're going to hear some. If you haven't heard much blues in here yet, you're about to hear some blues. This is a blues that was written by Oscar Pettiford, or Lucky Thompson, I should say. Whoops. That he calls plain but simple truth. There's another the in there. The plain but the simple truth. I think, yeah. Although my archaic chart doesn't have the second the in there. We'll have to fix that. The plain but the simple truth. Lucky Thompson. I guess this has turned into a pseudo history lesson, so I'm going to have Tom talk a little bit about his knowledge of Lucky Thompson.
I know that Lucky originally was from Detroit, although it's so funny when I read jazz biographies because my first knowledge of the biographies of performers was from my uncle's 1955 copy of the Encyclopedia of Jazz. And things you learn later on is that people's birth dates are kind of all over the map, and probably for a variety of reasons. Just because, if someone was trying to find work when they were 16 and they were really 14 or 8, back in the day. At first I thought Lionel Hampton was born in 1913, then I heard 1911, now 1908. As far as I know, Lucky Thompson is from Detroit. It's a long-handed way of saying something very, very, very plain but very simple. Like many musicians, he came up through the big bands, and then again, like in 1956, a lot of the basis of this group was because someone told me that I reminded them of Lucky Thompson, but they were too kind to tell me that. But I listened to he told me this album called Threeocracy. And I listened to it, and yes, it was this trio with Oscar Pettiford on bass, Lucky Thompson on tenor, and Skeeter Best on guitar. And so Lucky was one of those people who spanned a wide range, again, starting from the swing era, like Scott mentioned, going through bebop and going to later on some kind of hard bop, maybe some avant-garde exploration. And fortunately, Lucky Thompson in later years had some problems with mental illness, was living on the streets for a while, but I think eventually found a place in Seattle. Passed away in, I think, 2006 at age 82 or something like that. But had a lengthy career, and I just love his sound. And I don't know if any of you know the guitarist Nick Rossi, but Nick Rossi makes me look like an absolute amateur beyond all comprehension in terms of jazz history. And just the other day on Facebook, he posted some Fletcher Henderson. Fletcher Henderson's one of the very first big band leaders in the history of the music, who was playing in New York as early as with his own orchestra as early as 1923. But in later years, Fletcher Henderson fell in hard times, and one of the things that kept him going was that Benny Goodman bought his arrangements. In some cases, Benny Goodman had Fletcher Henderson in his band on piano, and in 1950, Fletcher Henderson had a sextet. This is an era when big bands were on the decline financially. Even Count Basie briefly had to go to a sextet for a while. Eventually, Count got his whole orchestra back. But Fletcher Henderson had a great sextet, and Lucky Thompson was the tenor player in that group. So it's just funny to see that cross-pollination of musical styles. And this is our chance to honor his music.
And now we're going to play something that has nothing to do with any of that. All right. This is a song that Tom wrote that he calls Ways Out.
Tom Griesser, Ways Out. I wish I could have figured the way out of that one. I got stuck in the middle somewhere. We got one more for you this set, and then we got a whole nother set of music. And then if you're really hardy, and if you're not, you can always get sustenance and revitalize yourself, because there's a late show tonight as well. But we've got one more this set, and then we'll be back for a lot more music after a short break and getting some air. This is a song, again, transcribed by Tom Griesser. Well, first let me introduce once again Tom Griesser on the saxophone. We love him, we know him, we love him. Scott Chapek on the bass. We're asking him to do a whole lot tonight, and he's up for it. He didn't know what he was saying yes to, I think, but he's in now. This is a tune that was recorded by the Jimmy Jufrey Trio, and it featured one of my favorite musicians of all time, Mr. Jim Hall on guitar. So this is a song that they recorded called "That's the Way It Is."
For those of you who don't know by now, Scott Foster on guitar.
Tom Griesser, Scott Chapek. My name is Scott Foster. Eric's going to tell you a little bit about how things work over here at the Bird and Beckett bookstore.
You all are at the Bird and Beckett bookstore. We're so glad you're here, and thank you for coming here all these years, ever since this guy started playing here in October of 2002, after the turn of the century, but a long ways back. And Tom's been here for years and years. Scott first played here years and years and years ago. So it goes on, and we're very happy it does so. It does so because we consistently pay the musicians, and that's because the community is extremely supportive. They donate to our nonprofit. They put money in those buckets, or they hand it to me at the door. And a 20 usually works pretty well. If we got 30 people, that's your basic kind of gets you in the guarantee area. Guarantee gets paid anyway, but we like it when you help. So do that. Stick around. Go get something to eat. Go get something to drink. Come back. At about 7 o'clock, we'll start the second set. At 9 o'clock, we got another show. So spend your evening in Glen Park. Thank you all very much. Hear it for these musicians. Yeah. Tom Griesser back there. Tom Griesser up here. Tom back there on the sound. Yeah. I know. Yeah. My middle name is Eric, and my last name is Eric. Okay. Thank you for being here.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you all for being here on this Friday night happy hour. This is the traditional slot. This is where it all started, and we've got the all-stars from way back in the day here. It all started on Friday nights happy hour, and it was bring your own bottle and bring some cheese and have a good time. And we're happy you're all here to experience that, because this is the true community neighborhood vibe that happens here at Bird and Beckett. And we're going to continue on with more. Oh, there's a debate. There's a raging debate, apparently, actually. I thought this band's name was Threeocracy. Yes. Okay. Because Eric's giving it 2 or 3 other names back there. Yeah, he's coming up with lots of little puns on 3.
I clarified with management.
Okay.
Yeah, but I turned it inside out and tried to switch it all to Threeology.
Okay.
I failed.
All right, so if you're looking for us online, good luck.
Free on the tree.
One of our featured composers here tonight. And our other featured composer is the great bassist Oscar Pettiford. And we're going to do a song by Oscar Pettiford right now. And it allows me to share this with you. We were talking about how the traditional night here was a Friday night happy hour, and it goes way back to the other location, and they moved over to here, and has grown into everything that is Bird and Beckett Bookstore music concert series that seems to be going on and on and on and on and on, and we're so thankful for it. But it started on Friday evening's happy hour, and it was put together by a gentleman named Chuck Peterson, a really important saxophone player in the Bay Area, an important person in my life. I like to call this the Chuck Peterson Memorial Stage because I firmly believe it wouldn't exist here if it wasn't for that man. And let me see if I can do this without getting too emotional. Chuck kind of, when I was a young man and a kind of a novice musician in a lot of ways, he took me on in a very experienced group and kept me coming back. He would take money out of his own pocket to make sure I would come back the next week, and really educated me in a lot of ways about the ways of being a musician. And one evening I told him, I've got this great group with this other saxophone player named Tom, and we're doing this Oscar Pettiford and Lucky Thompson stuff. And the next week he came back and said, you guys have got to play this. And he handed me this chart, and it's called Swingin' Till the Girls Come Home. And so we're going to try to swing till the girls come home in honor of Chuck Peterson tonight. Yeah, that one's for Chuck. That one is for Chuck right there. Swinging till the girls come home. All right. And this is the one, if you know anything about this music, you probably know this one. This is Oscar's most famous tune. And I don't know anything about the title of it, but I feel like it's because it's kind of tricky. What is it? It's about trichinosis?
No.
Okay.
I thought someone said it might have something to do with something like
Heart irregularity.
I don't know.
Okay. Anybody? Well, I always ask the audience here. Has anyone ever heard of a word called trichotism? All right. All right. Well, we're about to play a song called Trichotism. Check it out. Google search, tricketism? Anybody? No? All right. I'm going with it because it's tricky. It sounded tricky. That was Scott Chapek on the trickiness of tricketism right there. Wow. All right. I don't know what we got next, but my Little Tenderfoot. Lucky Thompson tune, Little Tenderfoot. You guys are getting the vibe now. If you haven't got it yet, we're doing something wrong. But hopefully you got this. You got it? All right, excellent. I'm going to find this song and we're going to play it. Eric, if I've been disseminating proper information, is there anything else that these fine folks need to know?
I think you covered it quite nicely.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Good. We're so happy you all are here and supporting the return to happy hour, which has been happening for a few months now, but still feels really good to get back to kind of ground zero for what's going on here at the bookstore. We're going to do another Lucky Thompson tune for you. How lucky are you feeling right now? Lucky. Yes, exactly. This one, there's probably some ringers out there, but this one has bonus points available if you can figure out what standard song, what famous Tin Pan Alley song this song is based on. Show of hands, how many people got the inside?
I heard a knowing chuckle somewhere.
What's new?
Of course, you quoted it, Scott. So
I tried to make it as obvious. I wanted everybody to have a fair shake there, so I gave you a lot of the melody.
I think for that we can maybe work out with consent of the proprietor, perhaps a discounted version of The Rushing, Man, Baby, and the Crooked Road to the Big Time, San Francisco, A Journey Through the Catacombs of Jazz and the Subculture of the 1960s by Don Alberts. We'll discuss after the show, but just want to put that out there.
Yes.
But Don Alberts was a great pianist. And
Talk about it, man. You got to let everybody.
great pianist and great writer.
We're going to need the mic because
There's
there's people on the internet that want to know all about what Tom knows.
I don't know really enough about him. I just know it. I think he was originally a Detroit guy who came out here. I know he played piano. Did he play bass as well? Piano, but also a great writer, chronicling his time in the San Francisco jazz scene. Don Alberts.
Don Alberts, yep. Sat right over there. I sat right here. He's part of what happens here.
Gave me his business card one time, and on the back of it was a tune.
There was a song on the back of his business.
Glass to read it, but it was a tune.
Awesome.
On this one?
Come on. Yeah, if Oscar Pettiford can do it, Scott Chapek can do it, I think. He did have perfect pitch, and he wrote the song, and all of those things, too, but Scott can do it. This is a no disclaimer zone, generally speaking, but this one is new to the band.
Actually, the first time I heard it was my teacher laid the Ron Carter Live at Sweet Basil from 1973, I think, record with Buster Williams, and played it on there.
Wow, is he playing cello or
Playing bass. Actually, no, he was playing piccolo bass.
piccolo bass? Wow. Play some up front, please.
I guess we don't have a drummer.
Oscar Pettifer's The Laverne Walk, featuring Scott Chapek on the crazy finger moves. Yes, Scott. Way to do it. Way to do it. We got a late show, so there's no overtime tonight allowed. Oh no. Can we do a very short one? Eric says yes. Okay. Play it twice? Twice as fast as we normally would? What is our last song? Oh, yeah, okay. We'll keep it short. But this is, this one I'm going to dedicate to someone in the front row who's the biggest Disney fan that I know in the room. And they know who they are. If you didn't like that, come back next month. It'll be totally different.
That's right. Scott Foster will be back in another month on the third Friday of every month. You can expect to hear him here at the Bird and Beckett Happy Hour, 5:30 to 8 o'clock on Fridays. Yeah, so do that. Next week it's Tony Johnson and his quartet. And yeah, we've all been very appreciative of the people that have influenced this whole scene. Chuck Peterson, the Chuck Peterson Memorial Stage, the Harvey Robb Memorial Bookcase. Over here we got Bishop Norman Williams, played here with Henry Irvin, with Dorothy Lefkowitz, and so on and so forth. Scott Chapek had a very important association with Vince Wallace. Vince Wallace, a saxophonist who meant a lot to music, and a lot to music in the Bay Area, and to a lot of players. So, and I'm sure Tom has any number of people that he worked with through the years. So all this scene is just part of a very big scene that's been happening for a very, very long time. Vernon Alley is up there somewhere back there. Dean Riley is underneath Vernon Alley. Vernon never played here, but he was certainly a wonderful, wonderful person in the scene, him and his brother Eddie. And Dean was a very big part of this bandstand. So anyway, and you all are huge, and some of you, Bill, certainly, a lot of people out here have been coming for a long time and have made a lot of difference. Okay, so thank you. Keep coming. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Eric at the Bird and Beckett Bookstore. Couldn't do it without him. Thank you. Stick around for some more music coming up, or come on back. We'll see you soon.